Let me then continue on because one of the things I'd like to talk about is kind of moves that maybe not our favorite, but ones that we were like, okay, this is a pretty solid move, right? And my pick for that was both of the moves to San Jose, DeJuan Jones and Noel Buck. Not just for all of the reasons you said, right? Going back, and we've talked about it before, going back and being with a familiar system, a familiar coach. I'm fairly certain this is going to be a 30 for 30 in about 4 years. And it is going to be the world's greatest plot to bring an entire club across the country without filing a single piece of paperwork to liquidate and move it. Because that's the only reason this is happening. Bruce literally, I want to know what Caleb Porter did to Bruce Arena to get him so mad that he came out of his retirement or MLS's whatever, took a team that was literally historically bad, and is now dead set on adding the entire roster from Caleb Porter's 2024 New England team, which was also terrible, and then looking him in the eye and saying, I'm better than you. Look at me win with your team that you couldn't do last year. What happened to get to this point?
The crazy thing is it's exactly what he's doing. You know, they're
Right?
leading the league in goals right now. Like that's insane. I mean, they're still giving up as many goals basically as they did last year, but like I mean, LA Galaxy model, it clearly works. Just score more goals than your opponents and you'll win. Doesn't matter how many you concede. And it's like the opposite of it's like they're getting revenge for when they got the team taken away from them and moved to Houston. It's like
Mm-hmm.
that. All right, you know what? It's time for us to strike back. We're gonna take all of New England and move them to San Jose.
Let's take New England and push it somewhere else into San Jose.
Yeah, push it across the entire country.
Yeah, no, I'm hyped for that move. But I want to know what do what other moves are you happy for?
I mean, I'll go with the one on the scarf right here. Robert Taylor to Austin. Austin clearly still needs some time to kind of get the attack going and get that gelling, but they're second place in the Western Conference right now. Well, at least that's what Google's saying. I don't know if I believe. No, yeah, because they have
No, they're
five
right.
wins. Sorry.
Yep, they're right.
Yep. They're second place in the Western Conference right now. And one of the areas they're struggling in is not the defense, it's the attack. And so adding someone like Robert Taylor is a great way to kind of bolster that attack and give them some time to kind of gel and figure things out. We talked about them a little bit before. Well, I talked about them specifically in terms of like them having attacking talent, but just kind of needing some time to get them to gel. Robert Taylor could be a good person to bring in to kind of keep you competitive and get results now while these guys kind of get it figured out. And then even when they do figure it out, he's a good piece to have there. I don't think he was like, I feel like he was getting slowly kind of bumped out of Miami. Like they're just constantly adding new players and new wingers and all that stuff. And I think Taylor had the potential to do more. My only slight thing that I'm keeping an eye on that maybe could be a concern was the question of if Robert Taylor is a product of the Miami system. Kind of like, the way we used to talk about LAFC, like people who would just go to the LAFC attack and look great, and then they go somewhere else and look mid at best. I'm not saying that's going to be the case with Taylor, but like maybe he benefits in Miami playing better because there's more eyes on, Messi and less eyes on him. That same
That
situation's not going to happen necessarily in Austin.
that's such a fair point. Do you remember Robert Taylor before Messi? Robert Taylor before Messi was Alex Muyl.
Yeah, I
Me,
mean
me,
that's fair
well,
comparison.
and then Messi shows up. The dude just starts putting up like scoop passes over the top onto Messi's foot. He's curly balls. It was like, what? Who is this? When did this happen? Right now, you put him back in Austin. Is he going to have the same impact? That's a really great point. I like that.
Yeah, but I mean, maybe that was all he needed, though. Maybe it just was a confidence thing. And, maybe he's feeling more confident as a player now and confident in playing in this league. And, even if he doesn't have Messi anymore to kind of shoulder a lot of the attention, he could still be productive.
Yeah, and I've always said that Lionel Messi is just the Argentinian Brandon Vasquez anyway. So, you know, what's the difference? I do want to put out a kind of shout for Frankie Amaya to LAFC. I wasn't outwardly saying it, but I was really kind of in the back of my mind hoping that we would get him back on loan because I knew he had fallen out of favor, and I thought Red Bull would be a really good spot for him. We're okay in the midfield right now. We've got Peter Stroud's doing well, Daniel Edelman's doing well. Carballo is going to leave at midseason. He doesn't want to be here anymore. So Carballo was brought in as a replacement for Amaya. So it would have been really nice if Carballo left to have Amaya come in and replace him. But I think LAFC is going to benefit a lot from that. I think he's got a really good engine and helps in that style of play that they're going to play with transition, right? So the ability to win that ball really, and I saw that a lot at Red Bull where he wins the ball and he transitions it quickly. Now at Red Bull, he didn't have a lot to transition to, but in LAFC, he's going to have a front three that he can really work off of, and I'm excited to see him in that system.
Yeah, I mean it's a win-win for both sides. I had this down as another strong move as well. I mean it's good for LAFC to get bolster that midfield. It's a strong midfield to begin with though too. They already had Delgado, they had Jesus, they had Tillman, but it's good for Amaya too. I mean, as you said, he was not getting minutes with Toluca, so he needed to move out, even if just temporarily. So I think this is good. Maybe this opens the door for him to come back to MLS permanently too. So,
Yeah,
hopefully that's the case. We like good talent in the league.
right. Well, and here's the thing: how many times are we going to send a player over to Liga MX just for them to fail and come back? Like, I'm kind of tired of doing this. Like, if
No,
we know
I
that.
like it. You collect the money and then just have him come back again.
I guess, but I'm kind of tired of this whole thing. Like, at the end of the day, if they're not going to succeed there, let's at least keep them. I don't know, but yeah, I can see the money side of it too. But